Hello, and welcome back to my podcast, The Hayley Osborne Show. I'm just going to start this episode with some stats because I want you to pay attention and notice that the global health and wellness industry is now worth $6.8 trillion. Think about that for a minute. Let that number sink in. If you missed that because you had to adjust your focus somewhere else, it's $6.8 trillion. And it's one of the fastest growing industries in the world. And yet, so many of you health brands are still playing it small. So I've been sitting with that stat this week, or the last few days actually, and honestly, it's stopped me in my tracks every single time. That is a lot of money to be valued at. And it is forecast. I did my research prior to this episode because I really wanted to share it with you. It is forecast to reach close to 10 trillion in the next few years. So think about where you're at right now and think about where you want to be and think about if you want to have a piece of that pie or not. That's a lot. That is a lot. And when you look at that number, you would expect every business in this space to be thriving, right? But that's not what I'm seeing, unfortunately. And my question to you is, what aren't you doing to move your business forward, to understand how to market your business differently that you should be doing? And I think I'm seeing so many incredible practitioners and business owners in the health and wellness space that are you're so brilliant at what you do, and yet you're not fully maximizing the opportunity that's in front of you. That is a lot, and it's growing. Okay, so another 2 trillion in the next few years, that's massive. That's $1 trillion is like lots of zeros. And I think that's why I wanted to talk about in this episode. So, what's really happening in the health industry right now, why so many businesses are not capitalizing on this growth, and what actually needs to shift to be able to capitalize on that pool of money that's sitting there that's growing, that your community are looking for you. And the reason that they probably haven't found you is because you're not visible. Okay. So massive, massive. So I'm Hayley. For those of you that are just tuning into this week's episode, Hayley Osborne, and I'm the host of this podcast. Welcome. Welcome. I am glad you are here. This is a big one. So the demand's never been higher for health, for well-being, for preventative care. You know, prevention is better than cure, mental wellness, and being at your physical optimus prime, no, being at your physical optimal, okay? Because like we all want to, be operating in our peak physical condition, both physically and mentally. Okay. And we are, me, everyone I know, lots of people I talk to are investing in themselves more than ever. And we're actually looking for support. Okay. People are searching for answers. They're willing to pay to get the right help in all of these aspects, whether it be physical, mental, like whatever the health and wellness is. And so we're willing to pay for the right help. This is not a demand problem. Okay. So why aren't health brands all growing at the same rate? And this is where it gets really interesting because the gap's not the capability. The capability is huge because you spend so much time learning what it is that your zone of genius has to offer. Years perfecting this. It's not that you're not talented. It's not the effort, because the effort is huge. To get where you are right now, you've had to sacrifice. Okay. I get it. I get it. It's strategy. All right. So most health brands that I work with and I have found are under positioned. They're really unclear in their messaging, inconsistent on how they are showing up. That's a massive one. And, you are relying on word of mouth instead of scalable marketing, and word of mouth will only get you so far. So, you're an incredible practitioner, you're an incredible business owner, but you're not positioning yourself as a market leader. And when we are talking about an industry that is $6.8 trillion globally, that matters. And the world is getting smaller. Okay. So, yes, there is an opportunity for you to have a piece of that pie. The world is getting so much smaller. So, I think I do see a lot of business owners playing small in a huge market. And we are more connected than ever. And I see this all the time. So I see lots of health and wellness professionals always downplaying how good they are, hesitating to show up online. Why? Okay, because you don't have a strategy, struggling to communicate how good you are. And it's not my availability this week is X, Y, and Z. That's not marketing your business. Okay, that's not selling in a clever way. And you also price very conservatively, which is okay. And it's not because you're not capable, though. And I think it's because really you've never been taught how to think more strategically in your business because you have been so, and that's okay because you are so in your zone of genius and you've got that care hat on and that community hat on, and that's cool. But when we are owning and running and operating our businesses, it's important to also, and it sucks because you have to be like the accountant, you've got to be the marketer, you've got to be the person, coming up with the messaging. Like to say that I'm a physio, a chiro, a beautician, exercise physiologist, like that's not good enough anymore. Okay. I see people staying in the operator mode, staying in that delivering your service mode, your one-to-one appointments and one-to-one thinking mode, instead of stepping into more leadership, more visibility, more authority, more your zone of genius, and putting that crown of you are the best in your industry. And that's hard to step into that when you've always been in the operator mode, the delivery mode, and thinking, how am I going to serve the next client that walks through my door mode? They're two different thoughts of thinking, trains of thought. Okay, yes. So that's why it needs to shift. All right. And I think there's heaps of opportunity. And if you're in the health space, there's trillions of dollars more opportunity, and it's only going to get larger. So I don't want you to do a lot more. I just am asking you to think differently and crown yourself with the leadership, with the visibility, with the authority that you have, that you studied so hard to achieve in a more broader, holistic sense than just the next person that steps through the door. So I think that it's important that you start to get clear on how you are positioning yourself, communicating your expertise with confidence. Now, that's really hard to do if you don't take some time to step away from the day to day and put some thought into this, because nobody cares if you have a 60-minute availability time slot and that you what the features are. I'm based in the CBD. Nobody cares about that. They care about the benefits. They care about what's in it for them, how you are going to help them, okay? The outcomes. And it's hard to talk about in this industry, but there are ways, there are clever, very, very clever ways to be able to do that and communicate that with a lot of confidence, okay? And that builds authority in your space, in what it is that you do. And that will then start to create a visibility beyond word of mouth, something that could never ever you could never ever achieve. Okay, so when you start to communicate like that and change and think about where you are positioned in the market, I think that then determines a new level of growth and what is available to you because you started to think a little bit differently. Marketing in the health and wellness space doesn't need to be loud because there's already a lot of money. Okay, we are so concerned. We are in this day and age, we are so connected to what is available through social media, in terms of the health and wellness has never been a bigger topic than what it is right now in the way that we care for ourselves, because knowledge is power and there's so much education on this out there. I think you don't need to be loud, you just need to be clear and your people will find you. What is your unique point of difference in the way that you're positioning yourself in the market? I think the real opportunity is leading with a brand that is attracting the right clients, that's building trust, that's able to scale, because you can only operate one to one for so long and then you are at capacity, right? But what can you do beyond that? Start thinking differently. That creates more sustainable growth and it starts to reflect on a bigger scale what kind of expertise you actually have. Because right now there's a massive gap. Okay. And there's the gap is between how big the industry actually is and how most businesses are showing up within it. Okay. I'll say that again for those at the back. There is a gap between the size of the industry, 6.8 trillion, and how most businesses are showing up within it. All right. That is where the real opportunity is. And so, if you're a health professional and you're listening to this and you really want to sit with this question, okay, I want you to sit with this question. Are you fully stepping into this opportunity of the availability within your industry, of this multi-trillion dollar industry? Or are you still playing small? And if so, are you playing smaller than what you need to be playing? The industry is growing. Like I said, in the next couple of years, it's set to be about $10 trillion. That's mind-blowing. The demand is always going to grow. Our yearn as a society wants to be healthier and weller and better mentally and physically. Okay. And the businesses that choose to step into that clarity and that visibility and that leadership are the ones that will grow with it and take a piece of that pie. And so if this is something that you're ready to shift, that's exactly the work that I do with health brands, helping you to be able to refine your positioning, build that authority piece that you know that you have, but you just can't get your finger on it. And let me tell you, it's the same for all businesses. When you are so close to what you do, it is very hard for you to see it. And so that's what we do. We create a strategy that actually supports your growth and that you want to, and in the way that you want to grow. Okay. And if that feels right, we can do that in a day through my VIP days where I will nurture you and we will nail all of this together in a really lovely setting in that is high vibe. And I love doing that. So if that's something that you want to do, hit me up. Send me a message in my DMs, or you can find it on my website. I would love to have you, but the demand is growing. Okay. So it's up to you if you choose to step into this with clarity, with a little bit more visibility and with leadership, because the industry is not going anywhere. And I want you to have a piece of that pie. That's it, guys, for now. Enjoy the rest of your week wherever you are and send me a message on Instagram if you want to have a chat. Tell me how much you love this episode or not. I think you would have, because it's you need that pump up. Anyway, all right, catch you next week, guys. Bye.